Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that goes to the cinema every week, sees a couple of things, rates them out of 5, stays at home, watches a couple of things, if they're TV shows, watches them all the way to completion, rates them out of 5, puts them up against each other and sees where our money has been better spent this week. My name is Tosin and I am your host, based up in Bromsgrove, a place just outside Birmingham in the Midlands. And joining me as always on the Isle of Wight is Sharon Garland.
Hello there.
Shaun Harris.
Hello.
And a London correspondent who gets to go to preview screenings because none of us can be bothered to spend the money to travel. It's Holly Nesling.
Hello.
Yes, we were just talking about the fact that we have now gotten to the point where people are beginning to send us preview screenings or a chance to sort of watch a film before it's actually out in cinemas so we can do a proper review and a proper recommendation to you lovely listeners as to whether you should go to the cinema to watch this or anything like that. And we are still a bit giddy about it and we're beginning to think maybe we can make some money here, but we shall see. But first and foremost, we shall go back to our bread and butter, the thing that we're always talking about, and say, what have we been watching this week?
Okay, well, I've watched there's Civil War, seen it twice now, and I did a binge watch of Fallout on Amazon. Yeah. So those are my two contributions.
Yeah. So Civil War in cinemas. That is one that you have been looking forward to for probably about 6 months.
Yeah.
You've been looking at probably about 6 months. And we know, I mean, this might be a bit of a spoiler. Shaun doesn't go to the cinema to watch things twice. Often. I don't. Shall we say? They have to meet some very stringent requirements for Shaun to even bother watching this thing more than once in the cinema. Right, so that is Shaun with Civil War and Fallout at home. And Sharon, how about you?
I have seen Civil War at the cinema, and I haven't seen anything I can review at home.
It had that kind of effect, did it? Civil War just wiped you out.
Wiped me out. I did see one, but I don't think it counts. It was a programme on BBC 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was excellent, that I would recommend, and it was called The Read, but that was excellent, so I could review that.
What's that about?
It was a dramatised reading of Frankenstien by Alex Kingston. Oh. And it was amazing, and it is available on iPlayer, so I suppose it could count as a streaming thing.
What like the entire book?
Yeah, condensed, but yeah, more or less the whole book.
Well, how long was that take?
An hour and 10 minutes, I think it was. She only did excerpts. She did certain key scenes.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Through it, but it was a one-woman play sort of thing. It was excellent.
So was she actually reading from a book, or was she just doing it from memory, kind of thing?
She was, it was a dramatised reading, so she was actually speaking to the camera. She didn't have the book there, but she was speaking the words from the book.
Auto cue, I expect.
Yeah. So was that
an auto cue, maybe?
I would imagine it would be an auto cue, yeah. Although I wouldn't put it past especially a classically trained actor, darling.
Yes,
I wouldn't put it past them to just memorize the book.
That's true.
I mean, all right, cool. And Holly, how about you?
I have seen Based on a True Story at home.
Yes.
Something.
Kaylee Cuoco, and what's his name? Chris Messina.
Yes, who I always just think of as Reese from the Newsroom. It's just who he is. He has no actual name.
Oh yeah, he's the son of the owner.
Yep, he's Reese Lansing from the Newsroom. And
he's Jane Fonda's son.
Yes, he's not allowed to be anything. As soon as I saw that, I had to start the newsroom again for my multi-annual viewings.
I'll tell you what I always found weird was Chris Messina. I think Chris Messina and Jonathan Bailey look like they could be brothers. Jonathan Bailey of Bridgerton fame. So he plays
yes.
He plays the oldest brother in Bridgerton. And when I first saw him, I was like, is that? No, that isn't Chris Messina, but it could be from certain angles. Yeah. I think Jonathan Bailey and Chris Messina look stupidly alike. Right, yeah, and me, I have done...
Matt Damon, and the bloke I always think is Matt Damon, but isn't Matt Damon. It's deeply confusing.
Who is that? John Cena?
No, I can't remember. I always think it's Matt Damon. It's not Matt Damon. Doesn't look like Matt Damon, but it's clearly.
And he's actually like a well-known actor, and it's not your. He's not your bloke from Monsternado.
No. And he shows up in films with Matt Damon, which is why I get really confused because I'm just like, which is it?
Oh, is it Mark Wahlberg?
No, but if you throw him and Leonardo DiCaprio into a film as well with him, I don't know which of them is which half the time.
So The Departed must have been very difficult for you.
They're just generic blonde white men.
All right, cool. And I have kept up my usual thing of seeing nothing in the cinema. And but I have a host of things. Oh yeah, there was a chance to watch Back to Black in the cinemas, but it's a music biopic, and I've given up on that.
Yeah, I know. I did. I was contemplating. I even said to John when I went to see Civil War the second time, I said, "Do you want to go and see?" And he went, "I'd rather see Civil War." And I said, "Yeah, so would I."
Well, the problem is like it's I don't it doesn't seem to matter how good how good a director, actor, everything. And from everything I've heard, Marisa Abela, who plays Amy Winehouse in this film, does a good job. But the problem is, I just feel like music biopics, they just follow this predetermined path, and they don't tell you anything. And especially the fact that I always, for me, if there's going to be something that's going to be made about a music star or anything like that, I want the documentary. And especially because Asif Kabadia did the documentary Amy a couple of years ago. When they announced this film, I was like, why? Why is this film?
Yeah,
that's it.
What is this going to tell us? What is this going to bring to the story? That is 100% a prejudice that I just can't get over when it comes to music biopics. I'm just kind of like, I don't wanna.
It's also Sam Taylor Johnson, and I can't say I'm terribly fond of her. I find her as an individual a little bit grating, and that's probably not fair, but I do.
Oh, that won't help.
Well, yeah. Okay, my problem is that the only thing that Sam Taylor Johnson has done that I can really say that I have even watched a bit of is the first 50 Shades of Grey film. And that's enough to put you off anybody for life.
Yes, the best bit, because in the book you've got her inner consciousness like dancing the hula and things, and if that had been on screen as well, that would have improved the film.
Okay, cool. I couldn't tell you, didn't read the book, didn't watch the film.
Very bad.
All right, cool. But let us kick off with Civil War. Let's talk about Civil War. And this is Alex Garland's movie about a civil war in America. Sharon, please tell us what it's all about, and then we'll let Shaun off a leash.
Yes, it is about a group of journalists in America, just a little bit in the future. It's not it's not completely fantasy. And it is an America that has been riven by civil war. We don't know what triggered it. All we know is that we're in the midst of it. And there are like the Western forces, comprising of California and Texas. And they have like seceded from the Union. And they're referred to as like secessionists throughout. But they have decided that they can no longer abide by the principles of the United States, and they want to become an independent. And their flag is like a stars and stripes still, but it has 2 stars on it, like sort of reminiscent of Texas's 1-star state when they were a nation, an independent nation. These have like the two stars for Texas and California, and they have occupied the northern states of America, and they have been fighting pitched battles as those forces make their way towards Washington, where the sitting United States president is. And while these forces are converging on Washington, there's a group of photojournalists who want to get to Washington to interview the president, because they think it's just going to be like the amazing scoop of the century to actually interview who could possibly be the last president of the United States. And so this is almost like a road trip of this group of disparate journalists. There are 2 experienced journalists who've covered all the war zones all around the world. Think Kate Adie, think Lise Doucette.
Yep.
And it's like a woman played by Kirsten Dunst. Her name is Lee, and she has been like the sort of the eyes and conscience of America for years, recording these war-torn events. She says she doesn't judge, she doesn't give an opinion, she records and she reports back. And so that's what her role is to report on and to observe what's been going on. And she takes with her regular partner, her cameraman, and who does a lot of reporting as well. And with them comes an old experienced journalist who basically wants to have his last hurrah. He wants to to sort of, he's been a renowned, think Jeremy Bowen, if the UK audience, who's been
That's the
around the
character
block a few
played by
times.
Wagner Moura.
That's it. And he's been around the block a few times, and he's not ready to give up yet. Because there's still sort of, legs in him, but he's a mature man.
Yeah.
And then you have this very young girl who's seen the work of Lee, who thinks, actually, I want to do that. But she's in her young 20s, but she's quite naive and she's quite inexperienced. And she's suddenly thrust in the mix of this. And you then follow these 4 characters as they sort of pile in a car. And basically, they're in New York covering a demonstration, and it turns out some violence. And they can't just drive straight down to Washington because there's a war going on. Yeah. So they decide to drive west and then loop round and then come up into Washington. So it means they cover quite an area of land to get there. And on the way, they meet sort of this disparate group of people. They meet sort of, I would say, the armed forces of the 2 nations. So you've got the patriots, as it were, and you've got the Western forces.
Yeah.
You've got like a militia type groups who basically have armed themselves, and you're not quite sure which side they're on. Mm-hmm. And even our characters are not quite sure which side they're on. And then you come across just sort of vigilantes or people who put their head in the sand. You've just come across all these different groups, and refugees, people who are just trying to stay out of it, but they're just fleeing the best they can.
Yeah.
And as with all Odysseys, each stage of the journey is sort of quite telling in terms of the character and the development of these characters. You get to have insight into what makes them tick. And there's a bit of foreshadowing of what events are to come, and that passing of like experience to youth, and what's that transition period between when someone starts off as being the vulnerable one, and then the roles maybe sort of get reversed a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's an Odyssey really, and what all that entails in the terms of these sort of vignettes that happen throughout the story. It's like episodic almost.
Yeah.
Where you meet these different characters
in the stories of a divided America. So we recorded this on Zoom, and I can see that Shaun has just been jumping around in the seat, waiting for his turn to.
I've been quite calm, to be fair.
Yeah, I know you've been quite calm, but I think all your energy has been going into changing your background into the map of the Civil War map of the Western states and the Loyalists and the Northern Territories and everything like that, and you've just changed it into a picture of Jesse Plemons.
Jesse
Plemons, who I mean, the trailer for this was one of those trailers that I think it was one of the most effective trailers that I think I've seen in a long time. That immediately makes you go, "Oh my God, I want to watch that." And I think Jesse Plemons probably has the moment of the trailer, and I think this is a still of him where for everything that says in the trailer that Jesse Plemons does his usual stock and trade and plays a very, very unsettling character.
I think this scene is one of the game changers in the film. I think because up until that you have got moments of peril, but you're still thinking, these are our main characters. Nothing's going to happen to anyone until the very end of the film, and then you get genuine moments when you don't know. Yeah. And I'm not going to give any spoilers because you genuinely think actually any one of these people could die.
Yeah.
And it has that level of peril, which sometimes in films like this, where they have like this sort of continual narrative, you don't get that sense of peril because you think, they're going to be there all at the end because what's the point otherwise? But in this, you genuinely get that sense of peril that actually things could go horribly wrong here.
Yeah, you got that in the trailer. You got that in the trailer. You were like, I don't know. This does not look. I'm not sure. It's like, for instance, But essentially, that moment in the trailer made me think if the character played by Stephen McKinley Henderson makes it to the end of the film, I'm going to be surprised. Okay.
Shaun.
Yeah, so Shaun, what do you think?
Okay, yeah.
Was it worth the wait?
Yes, it was. Yeah, I think so. Because I went to see this twice. The first time there was a couple of bits which I thought maybe not, but when I went to see it again, like Sharon said, and she did it so well, was a story. At the beginning, you see there's a lot more now that explains and foreshadows stuff that's going to happen. Because there's a scene where before they go off on their journey in like a bar where all the journalists hang out and they meet loads of journalists, and it's actually explained everything. Everything that's going to happen through the film is explained there, and everything does happen. I thought the acting was first class, and the actress who played the young photojournalist.
Kaylee Spaney.
I was thinking, where have I seen her? Where have I seen? And I have cheated and had a look, and it was Bad Times at El Royale. She was.
She's the younger sister.
And I was really impressed. And as I say, Jesse Plemons, well, he's class and everything. He's only in this for 10 minutes, but I think for me, he's like.
I don't think you can handle much more of him.
He's great. He's great. I really liked him in Hostiles. But anyway,
yes, he was in again very similar film with like that sort of Odyssey type narrative to it.
Yes, I think I've liked him in most things I've seen. So it explains the story and everything. And what I really like is how can we say there's some. No, I won't because I'd give it away because Sharon said we'd give it away. But there's some nice transitions, and they meet some really interesting characters along the way. And I think it's a good story. And I couldn't really. I was trying to find a few faults with it, and I did. So I had a couple of issues with a couple of things, which I won't say, but I loved. To start off with, I didn't enjoy the end scene. I did enjoy it, but there was a few issues I had with like the action.
I think we both had similar issues towards the
end. Yeah.
A couple of choices they made. You're thinking,
but
would that happen in that situation?
Yeah. So, but I wasn't quite so unforgiving this time when I saw it, and. I think I said to Sharon in it, a bit like basically the shot was like some of the old World War II footage I'd seen of the battle for Berlin, should we say? So like with walls and stuff and all that, and they had like an aerial shot and with walls and stuff. And I thought, I like that. So there wasn't a lot of action, and it was more of a journey. But terrifically well acted. I really liked this movie. Especially on second viewing. I had to go away and think. This doesn't happen very often. I think Mother was another one. I had to go and I was thinking, I was mulling it over, and then when I saw it again, it was solid.
Because this is a kind of it's Alex Garland, and I don't think Alex Garland is not interested in making films that you don't go away and think about. I mean, every single Alex Garland film, you have to go away and think about it. Ex Machina, Annihilation. Excuse me. You have to go away and think about the film, and I think some people like this and some people hate that. It actually led to on Twitter there's a freelance film journalist called she goes by the handle The Third Han, and she had like a whole thing where she was talking about Alex Garland. She doesn't like Alex Garland, and Holly, I mean, you'll get this. I mean, Shaun and Sharon, you stay off Twitter, and good thing too. You could stay off Twitter. Cesspool. It's a cesspool. And they actually had a civil exchange where she says she thinks Alex Garland's a terrible director, and he's like, "What, really?" And she was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Okay, well, each to his own." And I was like, "What is this?" And I actually had to call it out. I actually had to go on there and go, I just wanted to say thank you for having a civil difference of opinion on this platform. It's very, very rare. But they might have taken into their DMs and started fighting there. But on publicly, it was great. But yeah, I think Alex Garland is not. He is all about making films that make you think, that essentially have that kind of effect where you walk away and you go, "Hang on a second, but what about this?" So that being said, how many stars would we give Civil War?
For me, I'm going to give this a solid 4 stars. This is for me for Civil War, solid 4 stars. I enjoyed it.
I would agree. I would give it 4 stars as well. And I have to say, I do love Kirsten Dunst. She's one of those actors. We first came to see her. We noticed her, didn't we, in an interview with a vampire when she was a child. And 10. You know what? I love the fact that she, in this, looks natural.
Natural, proper. Yeah, like some wood in those.
I recognise her as this is the woman who I can see the child in her, and I can see the young woman she was, and I can see that she has matured, and she still is authentic, and she still is
really
herself. Good. And I'm just like, and when you see her in interviews, she gets dolled up, but she still is like, yes, I can see that you are embracing the fact that you are you're aging, and she just seems to be aging really well.
Yes.
So I really want to say, you know what? It's just so nice to see someone who's not afraid of like looking older, looking more natural, looking more free in just being who they are. I just love her.
I think she's the same age as us, Toes. I think she's the same age as us. I think
probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's a bit younger than I am, so probably in her 40s then.
Yeah, I thought in her 40s. Oh wow, was I? Hang on, wait. Was I like 10 when Interview with the Vampire? No. I must have been about 14.
82. She's younger than
82. Okay, that's what I was thinking, that she must be younger than us, because I remember thinking that she was younger than me when Interview with the Vampire came out. Even if you allow for 2 years for the film to be made, I think she was still younger than I was then. So yeah, she is younger. But I mean, the thing is with Kirsten Dunst, one of the things I also like about her is that I think she's going to a stage in her career where she is able to not give two hoots.
Yes, yeah. I think
what people think.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So as seeing the interviews of her, like what she's been doing, like the promotional tour for Civil War, and seeing the interviews that she's been doing, I've been like, oh, I am so happy that she's got to the stage in her life and in her career where she's not worried about, oh, I can't say this. She's just candid. She's just candid. It's a little bit. It's a little bit like Dakota Johnson, only like, talking about what's that now, that from Madam Web, only just not as incendiary. Like they're talking to her about, oh, would you do a Spider-Man 4 and everything like that? And she's like, yeah, for the paycheck I would. But she's like, yeah, but otherwise I see absolutely no reason to make that film.
You slightly love Dakota Johnson for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was about the only good thing to come out of Madam Web, is Dakota Johnson on the interview circuit. That was about the only good thing to come out of Madam Web. All right, cool. So let us carry on. That is 4 stars for Civil War. Well worth the wait. And yeah, I mean, Jesse Plemons. From everything I see, he's lovely in person, but my God, he doesn't play some creeps on screen.
Yeah, he's been in a few things, hasn't he? I mean,
he's brilliant at it.
He's brilliant, yeah.
He's brilliant at it. I mean, even when he's in a comedy, he was in the film Game Night, and he played like this creep. Quite frankly, it was just kind of like unsettling. I mean, the first time I saw him was in Breaking Bad, and my word, as Todd in Breaking Bad, he is. Oh, but anyway, moving on. Let's go to TV, watching stuff at home, and let's talk about Based on a True Story. So, Based on a True Story, all I know about this is married couple who want to do a podcast. I have absolutely no idea what might have attracted you to this, Holly. So, like, married couple want to do a podcast. They want to do a true crime podcast, and they stumble across somebody who might be a serial killer, and then they think, oh, instead of reporting this person to the authorities, let's try and use him to make a podcast better or something like that. That's what I understand. So, apart from that, take it away.
So, Kirsten Dunst, not Kirsten Dunst, I've got Kirsten Dunst on the brain now. Kaylee Croker and Chris Messina are a married couple. She is quite heavily pregnant. She works as a realtor, and he is a former professional tennis player who had a knee injury. Once beat Federer when he was young. Very clear about.
Sorry. As a tennis fan, that detail tickles me.
Oh yeah, and it's heavily weighted upon. And he is now a tennis pro, and life is not going quite the way they'd want it to. She's obsessed with true crime podcasts, and she and her friends all listen to true crime podcasts, and they encounter a plumber and who comes round to fix something, and then a local serial killer strikes, and a number of things rather suggest that their plumber might be the serial killer. And yes, rather than doing the rational thing of going to the police, they decide to blackmail their plumber into doing a podcast with them about being a serial killer. And lo, hilarity ensues. He promises that he's not going to kill people. Does he promise that? It's hard to be sure. And off they go and make this podcast. It's 8 episodes of lunacy. They go off to a podcast murder convention in Vegas or something. There are mad parties with some of their mad friends, all of whom are having affairs. One of whom is having an affair so openly that they invite the guy she's having an affair with to a dinner party at her house with her husband. It's all just, you watch it and go, that's mad, isn't it? Why not? Why not? That's just let's just keep going with it. And you watch this balance of their somewhat chaotic personal lives juxtaposed with the creation of this clearly, lunatic podcast, and the serial killer who, being a, good old-fashioned psychopath, has very different views on things to them. And they have to deal with their attitudes, the attitudes of others to, who's worse? Is the serial killer worse? Or are the people making the podcast with the serial killer worse because they are enabling this? They're making money off it. He's clearly mad, but what do you make of this?
Yes.
It's great fun. I mean, I think I watched it either all in one go or over 2 days. I can't remember which, but it was an intensive viewing session, and I enjoyed every second of it. You have to be, broadly speaking, okay with the idea of serial killers and podcasts, and be tolerant of the real estate business and tennis pros. So, it's just really very odd people.
Well, it strikes me like the kind of thing where it has a certain kind of tone, and if you accept that kind of tone, it might be a blast. And if you don't accept the tone, all you're going to do is just be shooting holes in this thing the whole way through.
And you will be morally repulsed by it. Whereas I just thought it was delightfully silly. It's just very enjoyable, sit on the sofa and not really think about anything viewing. And, whiles away a dull, evening or, couple of evenings. And it just, it made me giggle. And unsurprisingly, I think we'll see a second series. And we'll enjoy watching a second series of it.
I mean, it is Kaylee Cuoco, who is she's one of those low-key MVPs of almost everything that she's in. Because I think early on in her career, I remember that she was in a TV show, 8 Simple Rules. Which was 8 Simple Rules for dating. Yeah, with John Ritter, like the last thing John Ritter did before he died. And I remember that she was there, and a lot of her career was all about, oh, look at her, look what she looks like, oh, look at her, blonde bombshell and everything. And she has slowly turned it to the point where you're like, no, everything that she's in, you've got to watch it because she's in it, and she will be like the MVP. I have a film called Role Play on Amazon Prime that I have on my back burner one of these days to talk about, in which she's in there, and she's just good. I really like Kaylee Cuoco. And Shaun, you look as if you wanted to ask a question the whole way through.
No. I was just thinking. I wasn't asking a question. I was just thinking about a tennis thing. I'm just fidgety, Yeah, ADHD. It was. There's a film called The Challengers coming.
Oh, Challengers, yeah.
I'm going to see it on Tuesday, pre-screening.
You're going to see Challengers on Tuesday. All right, cool.
Monday.
I am okay. I think Shaun's frozen.
I think you're lost. Yeah. I think you froze me. Yeah. So no, what I was going to say is I think there's a film coming.
Oh, Shaun's frozen again. but okay. What I'll say is I'm to be honest with you, Holly, I am slightly dreading Challengers because as a tennis fan,
I was going to say Challengers.
Yeah, I think as a tennis fan, I think the tennis in it is going to be terrible. Because some of the shots I've seen, it's kind of like, okay, Shaun, you're a football fan. You know when they try and do when they try and show like a football thing on film, it never looks right.
No, it doesn't.
Never looks right.
No.
And what they started doing ever since the Wimbledon film is that they started doing this whole thing where they have people and if you saw them filming it, there isn't actually a ball there. They're just swinging around and they're like, we'll add the ball in post-production. And the physics just look off. You're like, right, yeah. I couldn't hit that shot with that swing. That doesn't look right. The only one I've seen that got it right, that I think got it, was King Richard. King Richard.
Yeah, you
King
said
Richard
that.
Actually looks like they're hitting tennis balls. So I am really, really dreading the tennis, and especially because I hear that Luca Guadagnino cares a lot more about the bodies and the sweat and the rippling muscles than he does about the tennis. So I think the tennis is going to be terrible. But anyway, so Shaun, let's try and see what you were going to say about Challengers.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I watched the I thought when I first saw it, because they're doing an
I think Shaun is okay until he starts talking. Once he starts talking,
challenges, I froze. Every time I'm trying to talk about challenges, I froze. I don't know. Is someone listening? Do you not want that being? Yeah, no. The trailer just put me off it, so I shan't bother with that.
Okay, cool. Because I was going to say that I think that probably that's what they wanted to. They were like, no, he's going to say bad things. Stop him! Stop him! Stop him!
Yeah, that's the only time, isn't it?
Look at Guadagnino and Zendaya are just sitting somewhere going, stop Shaun Harris talking. Like, all right, cool. But Holly, how many stars would you give based on the true story?
I'm going to give it a solid 3. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Would watch again.
All right. Okay, cool. All right. Now, Shaun, from what you've told us about this, the next thing we're going to go, because we have nothing else to talk about in cinema, we're going to talk about another thing on home.
I was going to say, do you want, if you're going to binge watch it the weekend, do you want to hold this as we've done one and one?
No.
Okay.
I actually want to talk about it. We'll see because
okay. We can do a retrospect, can't we?
I'll tell the powers that be right now that I think Shaun likes it. Shaun watched everything in one go, so please do not freeze Shaun when he tries to talk about Fallout.
I keep freezing all the time. I keep going freeze.
Don't freeze Shaun. Okay, so Shaun, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and see if we can get through Fallout, and if not, we might have to stop, and then maybe the powers that be are trying to tell us keep it till next week. All right, cool. So Fallout based on the video game. So Shaun, tell us a little bit about Fallout.
Okay. Well, I've never seen the video game, so I'm not even aware of the video game. So, but I thought I'd watch it anyway. And it's so visually, I don't know, the visuals are that was the first thing that attracted me to it. I thought this is the scenes, the visuals are brilliant. And basically it's a story. The story is you've got some people, what they call vault dwellers, that live in a vault. Yep. And let's just say some untoward things happen, and they're all very much like, oh, nicey. Oh, we mustn't be, no violence, blah, blah, blah. It's all happy. And they have
because it's set in a sort of like a post-apocalyptic world, a post-apocalyptic kind of Mad Maxy world where I think there was
2 of the vaults.
Yeah, so there was something that happened and a whole bunch of people went underground to live. And then there's people who were left, I think the richer people went underground to live, where life was all nice and easy, and then you had the people online who had to survive any way they could.
Yeah, but you find out later that there's a lot more to it than that. There's actually a lot more that's going on. And anyway, so one of the vault dwellers decides she's quite handy. She decides she's going to go to the surface to try, because her father's been kidnapped, and she's going to try and find her father. And along the way, she meets lots of different characters, like you do. So the 3 main, I guess you would say, the 3 main characters are this girl called Lucy, and then there's this wannabe knight in a big suit, and you've got a ghoul played by Walton Goggins. I love Walton Goggins. I'm really big time like him.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's just Space Adventure. So there's 8 parts to this series, and as I say, in each one, a couple of them are flashbacks, and you see what it was like before it's all big corporate, and it's all nice, Hollywood's nice, and there's a few people that are a little bit suspicious, like. But I think what really appealed to me about this, like you go on about like the films of the 70s and the 60s, and this has got it's just got a super feel, and the music is like da 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 all through it. So it's got like a 50s, early 60s.
So like retro
aesthetic.
Thing.
Yeah. So, and I mean, like the TVs are like just the cathode ray tubes, you know what I mean? Not in boxes or anything like that. It's just got that. And it's quite violent parts. There's some obviously people that have lived forever, the ghouls, and there's like in one of the episodes, I guess you'd have to watch it really, because it is just like a world building thing, and as things go on, it's like a big adventure. And as I say, there's a lot of action in it. The ghoul is a bounty hunter. Walton Goggins is a bounty hunter that used to be a Hollywood actor back in the day, a big major Hollywood actor. And you have these little flashbacks where you find out things that are going on. Yeah. I just couldn't stop watching it. I seriously say this is one thing I couldn't stop watching it. But I think it was because it was so visually beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And funny enough, I spoke to Anthony at work, and he goes, that Fallout. Have you seen that Fallout? I said, yeah, I have. I love it. He goes, it's absolutely brilliant. It is just like the game. They've been so honest to the game that he said, I love it. So I'm like, oh, right, really? Because I mean, I'm not a gamer or anything, so I don't really know.
The game is one of those games that you know the title. I know the title, but I've never played it.
Yeah. So it's yeah, it's just visually great. I just liked it. I would just watch it again, just purely for the colors and the visuals and everything else.
Yeah, I know, but that's because do you remember how many episodes there are?
8.
8. So there's 8 episodes. I think this thing was released on Monday last.
It was, yes.
I think it was released on Monday. So as we're recording, this was released 3 days ago.
Yeah,
it was released 3 days ago.
So that's why I haven't been to see much else at the cinema because this kept me occupied. So I came home from work and had some tea, and then I put it on and I watched a couple of episodes. I watched a couple of episodes every night. So and one I watched 3, and it was like looking at the time, all midnight. Come on, you better start thinking about sleeping. So
you see that now, sure. This is the thing, bro. Because when you told me that you watched all of Fallout, and I was like, because we have this whole thing where we say if we're going to review a TV show, we have to finish watching the entire series that we're talking about before we actually reviewed on the show. And Shaun went, yeah, on Fallout, and I was like, what?
I know, yeah. Saying you've seen all of that.
It was like Fallout, and I was like, Shaun, you gotta be careful here. You're gonna be. You're very much in danger of becoming a professional at this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I even missed the football. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
I even missed the football. Yeah, to watch this.
Wow.
So I even missed the football. You like,
so you hear this?
I was compelled. I was like, oh no, I've got to see what's going to happen. I've got to see what's going to happen. And
this is big. This is big.
This is big. It is really, really big for me. I'm tempted to, obviously. I think some episodes were much better. There was a couple of there wasn't any dub episodes. I liked it all. I liked the whole lot. Yeah. But for me, it was just visually stunning, and the aesthetics. It was, I mean, and the music. It was just everything I liked. And I mean, it made me even consider perhaps becoming a gamer, because I've spoken to this to people at work and that, and they go, "Oh yeah, Fallout. It's like a world building game. It's like Red." He goes, and then he was saying, "Oh, Halo's load of rubbish, nothing like the game and all that sort of stuff." And I'm like, "Well," so I said, "I won't bother with Halo then." So because I was looking at that and I was thinking, shall I?
Okay, but speaking about this, speaking about things like Halo and Fallout and The Last of Us, it looks like they are finally cracking how to adapt a video game into something you see on TV.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the route seems to be, don't make a film, make a TV series, because you have more time to sort of delve into like the themes of the video game. Because I think especially sort of games like Fallout and everything like that, it's all about the themes and all that. But anyway, how many stars will you give Fallout?
I don't think I've ever given a streaming 5 stars, but I'm going to give this one 5 stars.
Ooh,
that's how good. That's how good I thought it was. I absolutely adored it. I love the colors. I love the characters. I like the action scenes. I love the idea. Love the music. Just like it was just I was compelled. 3 episodes I watched. I got in as I say, it was like midnight, which I generally gone midnight generally. So I just
Shaun, this warms my heart. This truly warms my heart to hear this. All right, but okay, so that is 5 stars for Fallout. Shaun has never seen anything he's loved as much.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Well, definitely not on Prime Video, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
I've never given a streaming item,
series,
series or whatever 5 stars.
Okay, cool. That, as I said, that's going to be a big part of my.
You're going to love it, Toes. You're going to love it.
Big part of my weekend. I'm still watching Constellation on Apple TV Plus. Which never mind. No, I shouldn't start reviewing something.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, now, so Sharon, could you tell us about, was it The Read?
Oh yeah, The Read with Alex Kingston.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like a one-off. I don't know if they're going to be doing a series of these, but this is just a one-off program that's available on BBC iPlayer. So it is available to stream, and it is a dramatized reading of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And Alex Kingston basically takes key scenes like the beginning where they're in the Arctic, and then you meet the scenes where Victor Frankenstein is at university and sort of creates his creature. Then you go to the creature, and so it does swap between these perspectives, and it is just Alex Kingston at her best, basically. You know how she can be really sort of powerful and really sort of just mesmerizing on screen. So yeah, it's a very simple premise. It's basically just her in a room with a couple of simple props in front of her, basically acting out scenes from the book, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, all right, cool. So apparently it's an ongoing series. So the read has this. They've got Christopher Eccleston narrating a book called A Kestrel for a Knave.
Yes, better Kes. You know Kes, yeah.
Yeah. You have Liv Hill reading a Vision of Loveliness by Lewis Levine, The Day of the Sardine, On the Black Hill, The Lonely Londoners. So yeah, it looks like there's at least six of these books that they've done.
I shouldn't have reviewed them then until I'd seen them all. But the one I saw...
No. I think they all stand alone. They're pretty much like standalone. Yeah.
Yeah. The one I saw, I was absolutely excellent. So, because I often browse through BBC Four.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
That's your happy place. Your happy place.
Yeah, it is actually. I come in,
Oh, Sharon, you've put yourself on mute. I don't know how you did that. Okay, you're back. You're back now.
I'm back. Yes. So I only browsed through it and I came across it and I thought I've got to watch that because I've read those Frankenstein not that long ago, and I thought it was excellent. It had the feel of the book spot on. So I thought it was excellent. So I would give it 4 stars because I don't give 5 stars easily. Just almost I sort of like shy away from it, thinking I just can't do it. But no, I thought it's excellent. But yeah, definitely for me a 4 star, bordering on a 5 star.
Ooh, okay, cool. So 4 stars. Ooh. 4 stars for the read on BBC iPlayer. It's a BBC 4 thing. And Alex Kingston is amazing. Quite frankly, Alex Kingston is just. I think she's one of those people who are like, I really want to see her on stage. Before she retires, I would like to see Alex Kingston on stage. However, I just worry that I will never be able to afford it. So that is it. That is all the things we're going to be talking about this week. So we have one thing holding up the battle in cinemas, and we had 3 things that we saw at home. But I want to ask you guys, who do you think has won this week? With 1 thing in cinema, 3 things at home, who do you think has won?
I think streaming has won because we got like 4s and my 5 against the 4.
Okay.
So you got
cinema held its own, but it was ultimately beaten.
Yeah.
Okay. Holly?
But it was a good week for us.
Oh no, I think this was a good week. Yeah, I think everything that you guys watched, you had fun with, and even the things I watched that I didn't review, I did have fun with them. But yeah, so
it's a tie. There's a 4 star for the cinema, and streaming has had a 3, a 4, and a 5. So it's 4 all.
Wow.
Yes,
that's good, and that is how it should be.
It's amazing.
Shaun is like, no, it should just be everybody watch stuff. That's it. Everybody
watch stuff. Yeah, definitely. I got a feeling that I might because of the series that this series, and there's a couple of other things that I've watched. I reckon I might start getting into some series. I mean, I've never really seen Squid Game.
Oh yes, yeah. Like it's a series that people have raved about. Yeah,
raved about. Yeah, but I mean, there'll be a lot coming out. I'm going to do. I think I'll get a weekly subscription to Disney so I can binge watch Shogun.
Yeah. I mean, Shogun has finished now. I think
it's finished, is it?
Yeah, I think Shogun is finished. I think they're releasing it weekly. So I think Shogun is finished now. So yeah, you can pay, I think, was it £5 or £6, and then have like a month. You can have
a month. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. So that's better. I'll do that then. Yeah.
Get out of there. Get out of there.
Because I've heard some good things about that, and I'd really like to see that. I think.
No, I think Shogun is. I'm learning about all these words that people use nowadays. I think Shogun is coded for you, Shaun. It's very much it's very much sort of like, East meets West kind of thing. Like, I think Shogun is very much coded.
But I don't know if you read the book.
I haven't. No, I haven't. But I know it's James Clavell, and
I've read most of his books, and I enjoyed it. I read them years ago, but
did he? Yeah, he did another sort of Japanese one, didn't he?
Well, it was part of the Taipan series.
Taipan, that's it. What is that? It's a series of books, is it?
Yeah, he did. I think there were about 4 of them.
Oh, right, okay.
But
there was a film There was a film come out in the 60s called The Last Valley, which was based on a book he wrote. Which is in the 30 Years War with Michael Caine.
Yeah, good film.
And I think, good film, isn't it? And I think Michael Caine, it's Michael Caine's favourite film. I saw him on an interview with Parkinson. He said, "What was your favourite film?" And he said, "But it was one of those major, huge, cinema scope."
Oh, okay.
No. Well, I mean, I'm not really sure how it did at the cinema, but it was one of those gigantic. Omar Sharif, and I mean, a lot of stars, and it was basically about Protestants. There were soldiers, and there was Protestants and Catholics, and they find this, like, Europe's been devastated, but they find this Last Valley sort of thing, and they decide that they're going to build a Catholic church one end and a Protestant church the other end, and then there's fallings out and stuff, and it's a really good movie, but it was based on a book by James Clavell, so I think he must write a lot of historical.
Well, he did. Amazon has told me that the Asian series that actually Shogun is technically part of the series. Did 6 books in this Asian series,
okay.
All of which are very reasonable, and I would imagine if one were to read them again now, would say kind of racist. I suspect totally unfair.
Is there anything about The Last Valley, Holly? You could have a look for me.
Racist.
Yeah, kind of.
It's not that I've yet spotted.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So, and also, you can also tell something about our personalities, in that I could see through my Zoom screen that Holly obviously had a spreadsheet up where she was going, right, let's see, what is the score this week? Trying to figure the whole thing out, because Holly is just that kind of girl. So, like,
can't help it. I like numbers. Numbers are interesting, and I like tracking things.
That's good.
A very, very key thing that we need. A very, very key thing that we need.
Yeah.
All right. So I had a thought of something I was going to say, but it's gone now, so it must not have been that interesting. So I think until next week, I think that is us done this week, and until next week when we will see I think challenges. Sounds like challenges on the table.
I mean, I'm not so sure with that.
Right, well, but Shaun, that's why there's 4 of us. You don't have to.
Okay. Yeah.
you don't have to.
I'm not sure what's on next week.
Let someone else do the heavy lifting for a while. I may not be around next week. It is my mum's 90th birthday.
Ooh.
On Wednesday. So I'm taking the week off work, and so there are events planned for the whole week. So I'm not sure what's planned for Thursday yet, but we will be doing something. It's like the gladiatorial games to celebrate a milestone. So there's something going on most days next week.
Gladiatorial games with 90-year-olds.
Yeah.
I think, Sharon, I think you have
a very small dog.
Yeah. I think you've just come up with like a new pitch, a new TV show pitch. Gladiators, but with 90-year-olds.
Do you know, I'm just looking at see what's on. There's got An American in Paris, the musical. Is that?
Yes, I did think my mum might like that, but she hasn't been to cinema in years, so I did think of taking my mum along to that.
That'd be interesting. Back to Black, which we spoke about, Civil War, The First Omen.
Ooh, I think Shaun, I've heard good things about The First Omen.
Have you? I might check that out then.
Yeah, I think I've heard good things about The First Omen, and obviously you are a horror litmus test. So
Abigail probably going to see
Abigail
that.
looks like it could be fun.
Yeah,
because Abigail looks like it could be fun because Abigail is directed by the same guys who directed Ready or Not. And Ready or Not,
right, okay.
Ready or Not was a lot of fun. Even I think it was kind of like one of those things where I was watching going, I'm not a big fan of horror movies. I'm not sure this is a horror movie.
No.
It's more of a thriller. But even though Abigail boasts, well, I don't think it's a. I don't think it's a. I think it's a spoiler to say Abigail boasts a vampire. It looks to me like it's kind of more in the vein of Ready or Not than it is like a proper horror movie.
Yeah, that's my thing as well.
They tend to be doing that a little bit more lately, don't they? Sort of. I see they got a Danny Boyle season on. So
in the cinema.
In the cinema, yeah, we got Danny Boyle season 28 Days Later, Shallow Grave. Oh, I haven't seen that for a while. And then there's Kingdom of Planet. Funny enough, we were saying about Eccleston. He's in that, isn't he? Shallow Grave. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he isn't. Yeah, he is in Shallow Grave. Yeah.
And then in early May, we got Planet of the Apes.
28 Days Later.
Now, Tammy, I've not seen Sunshine. What's Sunshine like?
Low key, but good.
Yeah. I think Sunshine it's a weird thing where the kind of people who would like Sunshine are the kind of people who like 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I realized that 2001: A Space Odyssey is a Marmite film where it's a kind of film that
taste.
where a whole film buffs go, well, oh yeah, obviously it's one of the best things ever. It's Kubrick. Oh my god, the docket sequence, and this is all I can say all this without even watching the film. That people just think if you know film, you're supposed to like 2001: A Space Odyssey. But I've discovered that there's a whole bunch of people who do not, who think it's a pondering mess.
Overrated, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Sunshine is like is the kind of people who like 2001 will probably like Sunshine, but at the same time,
Event Horizon, it's that sort of
Event Horizon,
really about what you see on the screen, or is it about what's going on inside their heads?
Yeah. But I think the kind of people who like 2001: A Space Odyssey also watch Sunshine and go, well, it's just trying to be 2001, isn't it? It's not as good as that, is it?
Pretentious, yeah.
So I feel like Sunshine came out and just didn't please anybody. Just didn't please anybody. But anyway, okay, so until next week when we watch some of that, I think probably if I could, Abigail is probably the one that is looking most likely for me. And so until next week when we go see something, we come back and we tell you about it, and I might even I'll see whether I can do a Shaun and watch
watch a Fallout. We'll have a retrospective because you'll be able to help me out there. But yeah.
And I just want to say that I think Kubrick can be massively overrated, and I think his version of The Shining is not very good.
It's fair. Okay. No, listen. That's fair comment. I mean, I'm like that. I mean, my favorite Kubrick film is Barry Lyndon. So I mean,
you see, and Holly, that's the way to just lob a grenade just before we stop. Lob a grenade, go. Kubrick's rubbish.
And Clockwork Orange. Good movie.
Never been allowed to shine near The Shining. Never.
Yeah.
Red rum.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna stop because we're about to go into like a retro.
We could maybe do a little sideline where we do our overrated, underrated, perhaps just little shorts.
Yeah, we could probably do that. Things that we think are overrated that everybody else. Okay, the kind of things that everybody tells us we're supposed to like as film buffs, but we secretly don't. Like with you, I am largely with you, Holly, when it comes to Kubrick, because I'm like the favorite Kubrick film that I have seen is Spartacus. And the purists kind of go, no, but he didn't even write that. That was just a studio job.
I think the thing is with Kubrick films is they were made for cinema, and if you see them on the TV, it's just not it's not immersive enough. I mean, they Cinerama. I know it was 70mm Cinerama. Wasn't the 3-strip process, but if you actually see them at the cinema. And in the days when cinema was cinema and you had gigantic screens and there was not a multiplex, there was just one cinema and you used to have a balcony and plush seats and all that. Then all right. Yeah, anyway, let's
we did say we weren't going to do this. We did.
You're right. Okay, but we won't then. We won't.
So until next week.
Made of Lolita. I think that's open to debate. I think it's a very creepy book.
Which one? What?
Lolita. Yep, Nabokov probably shouldn't have written it. It's very strange.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes. but okay, right. Goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Yeah, we will see you next week. We might just start the show talking about whether we think Kubrick was rubbish.
Yeah.